Action-packed video this week. We're removing Geos from the 450. We're ending quarantine on German bred discus, and we're starting quarantine on some new African cichlids. And you know I got a discount code for you at the end. You ready? Let's go. So why are we removing Geos from the 450? I spoke with an accredited, experienced, long-time discus breeder, and it was suggested to me that the Geos in my tank are most likely out-competing the discus for food in the tank. Geos are like speeding bullets, and every time I feed, they go after all the food and they end up eating it all before the discus get a good fill. I've noticed that my discus are not growing to the size that they should be by now with the amount of time I've had them, and the breeder also concurs that they should be bigger by now. So the theory is that even though I've been feeding this tank 3 to 4 times a day for the discus, it's the Geos that are eating all the food and the discus tend to not get enough. If you watch discus closely when they eat, they need at least 2 or 3 times to peck at a piece of food before they are successful and it can actually grab it and put it into the mouth. Well, by the second time, a Geo already came by and swooped that thing up and that food is gone. Now don't worry, I'm not getting rid of my Geos by any means. I'm keeping these studs for as long as I possibly can. I'm removing them for the 450 and they're going into the 150 with the severums for now till I come up with a better plan. Now catching Geos in an open water environment is a very difficult thing to do. Like I said, they're little speeding bullets. So we're gonna drain the tank and then we're gonna catch these guys. Let's go. Even after draining this tank as low as possible to be able to catch these Geos, there's still got plenty of hiding spots with all this decor. So I'm gonna get this stuff out of here too, one by one, make it a little bit easier. But guess what? It's still super difficult to catch these guys because they find hiding spots even in the background where the net just cannot reach. So I gotta use this tactic of trying to poke inside those holes, get them to come out and swim somewhere else where I can then use the net and try to grab them. Let me tell you, I cut this footage down a whole lot. It took me a very long time to catch all these Geos, but eventually we got them caught, we got them moved over into the 150, and they're doing fine. As far as the Geos, this will be their new home now, the 150. They're all doing very fine in here. This tank is eventually going to be very overstocked when these little baby severums grow to these big severum size. But for now, everybody is doing fine. Even my big OG Saveni Geo right here is still looking beautiful and colorful. The OG Red Tapajos is still looking beautiful and colorful. And the 4 smaller guys, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are growing at a magnificent pace. Probably because they were eating up all the food that I was trying to feed the discus. They were getting an abundance of food. But now they're here in the 150. That's gonna be their new home for now. Fast forward a couple of days with the Geos out of the tank, and I can tell you that all the discus are eating much, much better. So much so that my tank is actually starting to accumulate a whole bunch of poop like I've never seen before. And it's mostly because now all of these discus are eating much more than they used to eat before. I think before the tank was only getting a lot of Geophagus poop and arowana poop and not much of the discus at all. But now it's a different story. Don't mind my substrate, guys. I have to rethink my entire vacuuming schedule now that all these discus are eating much better. Enter the brand new discus to the fish cave. I was introduced to my man Oleg from a coworker of mine. I was told that his buddy had some beautiful German bred discus, and I drove all the way to Connecticut from New York, about 2 hours and change, to go see them. Oleg was not ready to let his discus go. Why? Because they didn't complete quarantine. And he's one of those breeders that just didn't want to release the fish when they weren't ready. I can respect that. So I went home without him. And then the following day, I went back to Connecticut, picked up these 3 guys, and promised that they were gonna stay in 2 weeks of quarantine. Fast forward a couple more days and my new German bred discus have completed their quarantine. These 3 brand new discus I have are just a small little taste of what's about to come. I was introduced to Oleg and Michael from OM Discus Center. They are an up and coming breeder slash supplier, bringing these guys in straight from Germany. They're gonna be the Northeast distributors. They are not ready to take orders yet, but they will be soon. And when that happens, I'm gonna do a full tour video of their facility. I've already seen the adult discus that they have. They look amazing. When that video is ready, it'll be right there. Wait, time out. This is an official last minute late night edit to this video. As you can see, even my refugium is on. OM Discus Center is now ready to take on orders. I'm gonna leave a link down there somewhere and in the description. So if you wanted to order your discus right now, you can. Let them know that KaveMan sent you. What I've got here is a red cover, a checkerboard turquoise, and a spotted leopard. These guys were in quarantine with Oleg and Michael for 2 weeks, and I insisted that I take them home with me even before quarantine finished, only because I promised that I was gonna keep them in quarantine for an additional 2 weeks. And that was for good reason. It's very widely known that when you mix discus from 2 different breeders or suppliers, it's a very high probability that you can cross-contaminate diseases and you could end up wiping out your whole tank if you're not careful. So this full and complete quarantine was absolutely necessary to make sure that they don't have any issues at all before I put them into the 450 with all my other discus. It's also commonly known that you don't really want to mix like the Asian bloodline of discus with German bloodline of discus because they may not get along too well. But in my case, they're going into a huge 450-gallon tank. Plenty of space, plenty of hiding places, and you know me, I'm gonna try it anyway and let you guys know if it's true. But it's been a total of 4 weeks in quarantine for these guys. Well, today, that's over. Now, before just plopping the fish in there, I don't want the arowana to think I'm feeding them some new type of food. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of freeze-dried krill on one side of the tank so that they can hang out over there and eat that while I put the discus on the other side. Some of these discus are gonna go after this too, but all right, let them munch on that while we grab the discus. First one, red cover. Come on, buddy. We're gonna try feeding the disc. Put the camera straight, bro. You're crooked. Let's try feeding the discus now. See if the new guys eat. We're gonna go with Seachem's Discus Nutra Diet. Check it out. Now while they eat, it gives me a great opportunity to pull out my AquaBuilder app and add the new guys to the 450 we just put in there. If you don't have the AquaBuilder app yet, go get it right now because today there is a poll on the YouTube community tab asking you guys which species of fish you want to see added to the app, which we're gonna be doing now on a regular basis. Also, next month when we hit June, version 3 of the app will be available and that's gonna change the game. Trust me, go get that app right now. You should see a link down here and one will be in the description below. Now that these guys can take their time eating, they're gonna grow at a much faster pace, which is something that you gotta keep in mind when you keep discus fish. They need to be fed multiple times a day. When you feed multiple times a day, that means your water is gonna get polluted that much faster. with poop, uneaten food, all that good stuff. Which means that you gotta do more water changes than you normally think you would need for discus, but they do require a lot of water changes and big ones as well. When people say that discus keeping is difficult, this is the difficult part. Keeping them well fed, keeping the water clean, doing more maintenance than you normally would for any other type of fish, but the end results will always be worth it when you see them reach their adult size. Mind you, some of them might have already gotten stunted due to the fact that they weren't getting enough food at their younger age, and they may not be able to recover from that lack of nutrients when they were younger. But since removing the Geos a few days ago, I have already seen some increase in growth in some of the guys. So hopefully those guys continue to grow. Maybe the smaller guys will catch up, who knows, but we're gonna end up having some big, beautiful discus in this tank. It's a good thing you're still here with me, because now you get a sneak peek at some brand new African cichlids from Snake River Cichlids, discount code included. Check out these big, beautiful studs already in quarantine. They're gonna be here for at least minimum 2 to 3 weeks. If you wanna check out the full video of the unboxing of these guys, my full quarantine process, and when quarantine has ended and adding them into the 210, that video is right there for you. Or if you wanted to learn more about discus, check out my complete discus playlist right here. But before you go, if you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace.